My name is Andrew, by the way. I'm a journalist for USA Today. I'm arts and culture reporter. And most of these folks are my friend. Greg is now my friend. I just met him earlier. But we all kind of know each other. Athens is a small southern town, and so I'm glad to see all of us together doing something for the kids. All right. So this is AthenGATV Meetup for content creators. And it happens monthly on the last Tuesday of the month here at ATHICA, organized by Joker TV and Create Space. And if you're here, you probably are a content creator, podcaster, live streamer, influencer, filmmaker, or producer of some kind, right? Maybe you just want to get started doing something in the industry. Either way, we hope to provide you with value, no matter what level you're at. We'll have these meetups as a way to inspire each other to build community among the creators. And this is a chance for us all to network, collaborate, and skills share with each other. Each month we will have discussions with different local content creators and producers as they share their experiences, knowledges, strategies, successes, and challenges. All right, panel tonight, y'all want to introduce yourselves? Montu, Sajaad, Greg? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Montu Miller. I'm an educator at Cedar Shoals High School. I teach AP, African American Studies, Ethnic Studies, and Peer Leadership. And now this year they actually have me teaching sociology. Also, for years have done a lot in the hip hop community, from event planning to mentoring, just all kind of things. Sit on a bunch of boards, but I won't bore y'all with all that. But my main job right now is I'm an educator.
How y'all doing? My name is Sajaad. I'm an artist in town. I do music. I also have a clothing brand called I Manifest. And yeah, I'm just a creator in town, pushing my campaign.
That was brief. I'm not good at brief. I'll try. I'm Gregory Dolezal, not the Republican state senator. Just be clear about that. I am from Athens, Georgia. I went to Clark Central High School. I came back to be with family. I'm studying a Ph.D. program in learning, leadership, and organization development, which is fundamentally adult learning in the workplace and career development, leadership development in marginalized communities and community empowerment. That's what motivates me. I have taught everything from kindergarten all the way to university. I've taught K through 12, technical colleges, universities. I started a career development center in Vietnam that was dedicated to digital content creation, digital marketing, e-commerce, and media production. I wanted to give teenagers and young adults who may not have formal education but all owned one of these things, a computer that's smarter than the space shuttle, right? You can do anything with this if you know your audience, if you know how to talk to people, if you understand your product, if you've done discovery. It's not just giving someone a discount and putting some product up. So it's about storytelling. One of the things I want to talk about today is how storytelling and content creation are really the same thing, and that storytelling is learning. That's how we make sense of the world. It's the oldest form of learning, is storytelling. From our parents, from our elders, from our friends, the stories we tell ourselves, it's endless. But there's my not so short introduction. So.
That's all right, Greg. That was your 5-minute presentation. You ate up all that, sir.
Is that all I get?
No, because when I think about content and stuff like that, I got an 11-year-old daughter, and she's got a phone because all her friends had a phone, and I know what she's looking at is mostly TikTok and things like that, and so I'm coming into this just like anybody else in the audience. I just want to know what attracts kids to want to engage with content. What type of stuff do they like, and what's a way to get them into something that's actually worthwhile? Because that's the thing. You couldn't get me at age 11 to do anything but listen to hip hop music, watch MTV, things like that, hang out, skateboard with my friends, stuff like that. But now we got a million different places they could go, a million different people that they could meet. And so I'm not exactly sure where the discussion will go, but this panel is so valuable. Y'all just heard right now what Greg is doing. Sajaad, I've known you for a minute, and I think you are brilliant on stage. I've seen him perform in front of it had to have been at that one App Fest. How many people was that? Come on. It was a few hundred folks out there. Yeah, that was wild. And you had him in the palm of your hand. And all of that, I don't know if y'all looked at back there, all the stuff that he's doing is very, very positive. Montu, he is the best friend that Athens music ever had. Not just Athens hip hop, the best friend that Athens music ever had. That's how we first connected, but Montu is brilliant. There's a lot of things about Athens that I love that would not exist without him. But he's also got a very valuable perspective because he's more, you see more kids every day than probably the rest of us do, right?
Probably.
And so, do you want to lead us off with a little bit more in detail about just what students are looking for and kind of how you engage them?
Well, it's hard to say what they're looking for, to be honest with you, because they're still trying to find themselves. So it's like, it's different from like, I'm Gen X, right? So we was finding ourselves like riding bikes across the city and watching G.I. Joe and like all kinds of other stuff. Like, imagine trying to find yourself amongst these billion streaming things that's going on. You can't. You know what I mean? So I think you have to like educate them outside of that is what I try to do with my peer leadership class, with my mentoring, with AP African American Studies. Like, I want you to know who you are, so then when you do get online, now you'll go down them rabbit holes that like really interest you, and you just don't take what is coming across your stream and like, oh, this, and then you become this thing that like really ain't you. And now you're like this facade of who you really are, because you're just liking what everybody else is liking. You're doing what everybody else is doing. You don't really know yourself. So it's hard to say, okay, we can put this thing out here for the kids and it'll work. Because like, they don't even know what they want. Like they're being told about algorithms and other things, what to listen to, what to watch. So I think that happens that happens in my classroom. That happens at Cedar, that happens at Central. That happens in the community with, you know, parents that are being parents. Like, that's when that happens. So when they do get online, they'll do it a little more intentionally. You know what I'm saying? Which is hard nowadays because like the kids are so trapped and so into like certain things, but they're not even into them because they like them. But when you have a real conversation with them half the time, that stuff they stream and that stuff don't even matter to them. It's like, to get them to actually walk a path to like, you know, I want to see what's going on in whatever it is because I really want to know it. So that's a hard question, is because they don't know what they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm always just like, okay, I'm 48. What do I know about being a kid right now? You know, our revolution was cultural. Theirs is technological. So, you know, I just try to boil it down to like the simple things of wanting to be accepted. Some of the things that never change, no matter what, you know, and that seemed to be some of what you're talking about. Yeah. So I guess the question is, Sajaad, you seem to be able to capture the ear of people. You know, I think that's one of the reasons why they brought you. I've seen it happen, you know. You were able to use, I thought, social media to your advantage. But what you were putting out there was quality. I mean, it was really good. And I think you're an exception to the average thing that some people make just because of what you put into it. Do you want to talk about like how you come up with that and just what it means to you to put out you know, something that's good and something that's positive? Because Manifest has a lot of, I mean, that's a very, very positive thing you were talking about from the very beginning when I first met you.
Yeah. Well, ever since like I was a kid, I've always been like a dreamer. Before I started doing music, I had the vision of being like a pro soccer player. So I guess for me as a young age, I've always kind of like knew what I wanted to do. And regardless, I was the type to just like put my all into it. So transitioning from soccer to music, it was kind of the same thing, but it was a whole new realm. I had to start over. And as much as online is important, I mean, a lot of the interactions that I have from the community is by going out meeting you guys. You know what I'm saying? I hit you up, of course, online, but I was like, yo, can we go meet up?
We did. We met him face to face.
Yeah, had a tropical, just kicking it, having a conversation, you know? So I think as much as online is important, I feel like real life interaction is really what's important in terms of, especially being in the community that you're in. You know, online helps you spread like further, of course, but if you're not like trying to connect with the people in your community, I think you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, you know what I'm saying? Because really you're just one person away from helping you build something and like manifest your vision. So for me, it's always just been about, even with music, it's just something that I'm just pushing who I am. And I believe in manifestation. So within that, it just kind of naturally just comes off. And anything that I do is like, I want to have quality in it. I'm basically just kind of just telling my story, and hopefully it's inspiring other people to find out what it is that they like in life and pursue that. So that's kind of just like the energy of what I bring to just like my music, my merch, just my whole campaign really.
Yeah, I heard about Manifest from you first, and then I started to see it everywhere.
Well, the brand's I Manifest, so I know because the manifest.
Just about the concept.
The concept of 100%.
Yeah.
Slowly been spreading, and that's something I haven't really necessarily heavily been pushing. It's just been something that organically people have been connecting to. But like you said, just utilizing resources like shout out to Hometown Kicks. I drop a lot of my merch off there, and that's where a lot of people kind of go and shop. They don't even know I even own the brand, but they just see the brand around. So if I go downtown, they're like, "Man, I know that brand." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's my brand." But oh, yeah.
That's a shoe store downtown, yo.
Yeah, shout out to Ant. But that goes to show community of like having something that, because I'm not at Hometown Kicks every day, but I got someone in the community who's supporting my movement, who's allowing me to reach more people than I would by not having it there, So that doesn't come from online relationship. It comes from actual human interaction. Me going to the store like, "Hey, Aunt, I got this brand new mine." He's like, "Yeah." It just showed a lot of love. So if you have something that's authentic to yourself, people will connect with that and help support and drive it. So I think for like people is to like be authentic to who you are, and people will support you in whatever it is you're trying to do.
Yeah. Man, can we clap for that? That was amazing, man. Yeah, and see, as a journalist, I didn't go to college for journalism. I just got fired a lot, and then I went to the newspaper and thought, well, I'll get fired from here too.
That's fine.
But I didn't. 25 years later, here I am. But we, as a journalist, we live and die by the story. And that is why Sajaad stuck out to me, because he had a story. He's talking about soccer. He could take this whole panel telling you his story. It was amazing. So that was where, Greg, you talk about storytelling. That's the key, right? To interest somebody is to be able to tell a good story. I don't know if that's a good lead into what you're here to talk about, but I'm gonna hand it off to you, man.
Absolutely. Well, I love hearing the stories, and thank you for including me in this. I'm really honored to be a part of the discussion. I guess the difference between me and the other panelists is I'm not primarily a content creator. I'm an educator, and I'm focused on giving people pathways, especially out of working class or marginalized communities where they may not have access to formal education, but like I said, they might have a device, and with that they can create their future, they can create their story. So what I'm talking to Max about recently is, well, what would it be like to go through the process of being part of a production crew? You learn the business part, you learn how to handle clients, you learn how to tell stories, you learn how to do storyboarding, you learn who your audience is and how to connect with that audience. And if you belong to that community, like I like Sajaad, what you're saying about being out there face to face, that online community may not be a reflection of the people that are nearest to you. It's mainly a reflection of the people that have the same taste as you. So you're part of this taste community, and that could be diffracted across the entire country or the world. But when you actually go out into the real world here, whether you're in a classroom or in the neighborhood or at an event like this, these connections are where those stories are generated, but they're not the ones being told because the people in those areas are not the ones doing the telling. So how can they do that, and how can they make a living out of it so that those stories are always told? I also look at this from a civic affairs point of view. Our local media is dying. It's more and more corporate, and so those local stories get just lost. And there are exceptions. We've got a few alternative media folks here in Athens. Can't name them all, but there's a few, and that's great. But again, those are often people that come from a formal education background. Maybe they're not even from here. So scroll. I just heard Chuck D yesterday on NBC. He said, "Yeah,
For Public Enemy, everyone. This was a
I'm raising my glass to Chuck D.
Yeah, Chuck D. Fight the power. So he said, look, right. He said, look, scrolling is not reading. The reading is active, and scrolling is passive. And he says texting is not writing. I sort of take issue with that a little bit. I think texting is a kind of writing, but I get the point. And so a lot of the next generation lacks some of those skills, not just the professional skills, but that, earlier conversation today, we're talking about this. teaching professionalism is easy. Teaching someone to be authentic and to represent themselves and their people is hard. And unfortunately, those two seldom meet. You get people that have great stories, they don't know how to tell them, or they don't think anyone cares to hear it. And then you get folks that are trained, and God bless them, but they're hunting for authenticity. They're looking for it. So how do we match those things up? And that's what brought me here. And so I envision like a nonprofit training scenario where maybe 16 to 25-year-olds, adolescents, young adults, especially people who can't afford formal education, could come in and learn all of these things, learn how to be a producer, learn how to be the on-air talent, learn how to plan the show, learn how to work with the guests, learn how to work with the venue. There's so many of these skills. Those are all transferable, real-life skills, and they can be an entrepreneur with just their phone if they have that. So that's my broad interest, is more in the training, and so I respect the teachers and the brand performers, and yeah, but for me, yeah, I think it's like, how can we be mentoring, not just in a formal classroom, but Sajaad, you know, I'd like to see a handful of people following you around, doing the things you're doing so that they can do it when you're not doing it or when you've moved on. You know? I mean, I'd like to ask, like, how could you mentor people now, without any funding, without any programming, just after today? You know, I'd ask every member of this audience even how we can each mentor people to learn these skills, because I think the skills, that's economic empowerment if they have the skills. So, thank you. Yeah.
I would say, man, that I think it's important that they trust you first. That's the thing. If you're old, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to hear nothing that you have to say, because immediately you don't know what's going on. You know nothing about my experience. I think a lot of old people are like, man, y'all better listen to me now. You know, that's the thing. And so getting them,
Can I build on that just for a minute?
I was gonna say, Montu, you kind of already started to talk about this when you were talking about authenticity and them not knowing themselves. And I think that's kind of what I was getting at. You know?
So in my classroom, I do that, but it's funny because for many, many years, I've done that in the hip hop community. Like, I'll book artists and I'll give them like all these hoops to go through, right? I'm like, I need your bio, I need this. I'm sending them emails, I'm sending them texts. What they don't even realize is I'm like teaching them the whole way. So I've had so many artists come to me like, damn, Montu, I use that same bio for you for something else, or all these things that you had me doing, like these other people wanted me to do too. And I was like, same thing with like not rapping over vocals and all these other things. Like I'm literally teaching them these skills, and they don't even realize they're doing it. So at this point right now, I'd say I've been mentoring for the last 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, I have like a contingency, a cadre of people that like they will know that like some of the skills that I've taught them and some of the things that we've been doing, like, it's all about like getting you to the highest point. You know,
it's in the way that you did it though.
And because they don't think they're learning.
Exactly.
You know, it's putting the medicine in the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's but I have to do that with young people though.
Yeah.
Like, I can't just be like, okay, let's sit down and do this, and I want you to do this, and this, and trying to teach you, here's this and all this. It's like, no, you want to be on a show? Okay, do this, and this. It's like it's the same thing in my classroom. All I'm giving you is assignments. I'm giving the hip hop community assignments to do, and they do them. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen you do that, and I've seen the results. I think a lot of people have. And,
just to kind of touch on what Montu's saying, I feel like the best way to teach is by action. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times we can tell people what to do, but through the process of what Montu's saying is like, it's also weeding out those who are actually serious about pursuing that. So I think having action gives people a chance to really look in the mirror and see, is this something I really want to do for? And then at that point, it can lead into something else. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I don't really want to put the work in to do this to become an artist. So, all right, we'll go pick something else that you actually find interesting, that you want to put your time towards. I feel like for me, I'm still in my process of still developing as an artist. So I kind of impact, or the way I feel like I impact is through just how I'm moving as an artist. So the people who are close to me, I have like a couple of friends who are artists. They like, you know, we kind of just get inspiration from each other, how we move. I'm kind of, I would say, like the head honcho of the group of just like how I'm moving. So I think they're, by me not really saying too much, they just observe how I'm moving. I'll take them on like, yo, I'm about to go pass out some flyers, or I'm about to go shoot some content. I just bring them along with me and just teach them what I'm doing, rather than trying to tell them, hey, you should do this, do that. Like, all right, this is what I'm doing, you know, and you're seeing some positive progression from it. So that's my form of teaching, I think, is just through action. And like, eventually, I think what's good about social media is now you can capture the journey and you can teach online through that rather than, like you said, putting it in like a medicine form. It's just, you're just showing them what you're doing. And from there, like, well, he's successful, this is what he's doing. It's going to have to get them to like make a decision. Okay, do I want to do that or do I want to do something else? You know, and that's going to weed out a lot of, you know, I guess people finding who they are is by actually having to see what it takes to become what you are envisioning for yourself. And yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Sure did.
yeah.
All right, I want to make sure we got enough time to take questions from the audience and get into a discussion with me too. So we have been talking so much about things that you can do and things that you are doing. I would like to know, what are some things not to do? Like, what are the mistakes that you have learned from and things like that? You know, to where things could have gone, things maybe it went really poorly or not how you wanted it to be. Great. You want to start off on that?
Yeah, I'll take that one first. Well, and I've made a lot of mistakes and I've tried a lot of things, and when you try things, you fail sometimes. So that's, you know, we were talking about experiential learning, right? I'll be the nerdy academic, and you know, John Dewey's concept of that you're learning through doing. You know, and I would add also Paulo Freire, a Brazilian educator who is, add participation and co-inquiry to that. So what I heard from all of them panelists is that they're including people in the process, and that's how they're learning. So I just commend that, and I think that's the thing to do. But on not to do, it's this chalk and talk lecture thing. No one wants someone to just dump information into their brain and then tell them what to do and how to do it. That is not attractive. I mean, I know that teenagers don't respond to that. They have to feel like it's their ideas coming from within. You know, so I guess creating situations where young people can try things in a safe environment where there's the trust. But if you do it in a way where you're just telling them what to do, you know, they can make widgets after that, but they're never going to be creators. So the thing not to do is to just be critical and say what's wrong about everything, and to be in a one-way conversation where they're just a listener. And I would also say, if you're doing any business endeavors, having partners that understand the developmental part of your goal, that it's not just a for-profit goal. So if you have people who understand that, yes, we're here to make a living, we want everyone to get paid, and the way to get paid is to do that well, but you have to keep this social element in the back of your mind. If you don't have that, you're doing it wrong, because how can you do something that's saying you want to help people, that's trying to empower people, but it's really just about you and making yourself feel good about how much you know? So that's that.
I've seen a lot about that. I've seen that a lot.
Can you re-ask the question?
I want to know, because we've from the top talked about ideas and things that we are doing, things that we can do.
Yeah.
Just mistakes that you've made that you've learned from, because you know part of you know authenticity is being able to be like, all right, let me show you the scar I got, and I'll tell you what happened. It wasn't a fight.
Yeah, I feel like
It's a dishwasher.
if you're not failing, then you're not trying. You know what I'm saying? I think with failing means you're actually trying to bring to life something. You know, everything's not. You're not gonna know everything, how to do everything. You have to fail to understand what works and what doesn't work. You know, so I think if you're not failing, that means you need to be doing something. You're probably just chilling. So failure is a part of the process. I think if we kind of shift the narrative on failure, I think we can have people who aren't as afraid to go out there and, you know, because it's something that's a lot vulnerable, like going out having to tell people like, hey, I'm an artist, I want to do music, check this out, do you like this song? Or going through all those processes has like helped my confidence grow to where now you kind of see what's really important. And just everyone's lens is going to be different on what they feel is important. But to me, it's just like you said, just standing on your morals, who you are as a person. And I think like how you were saying, going back to what you were saying about the your passions of what you want to do in life, I feel like if you know what you're passionate about, it's like, okay, how can you maximize that to now fund your lifestyle rather than trying to just do something for like the money. You know, it's like if we can start asking people like, what's your passions? And then depending on what your passion is, I feel like there's an avenue to where you can monetize that in a way where you can, you know, self-sustain yourself through your creativity. So, yeah.
When somebody asks y'all next time what rappers are like, please remember that. I mean, that might just be Athens, but you know, whatever.
We are special.
I do.
But
I'm on the back line, y'all.
to me, it's about the art of being able to say no. So one mistake I made when I first got to Athens is I would just say yes to everything. I'm talking about whatever somebody wanted me to do, I was doing it, wasn't getting paid for it. The art of saying no. You gotta learn how to say no. You cannot do everything. Like, you just can't, you know. And now that I've learned that, like, now everything is like real strategic and streamlined. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able to say no and be strategic about your moves. And the second thing I would say is, like, do not isolate yourself. You have to find mentors. You have to look and study people who've done it before you. You have to read about, like, what you want to do. You do not isolate yourself. You know, don't think that, you know, because you got we were just talking about this earlier, because you got 1 million followers and you're in your bedroom, you know, and you got all these eyes on you on the web. But then when I book you for a show, 3 people show up.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, you think you hot, and you know what? Online, you are hot. You can do some online shows. It's all good. But when we come into this real life, it's not the same. So you can't isolate yourself. Build yourself a nice team. Build yourself a nice network, and, like, let that network grow. Let that network grow, and you got to work your network.
And I think most would agree that part of doing that is coming out to stuff like this, being on panels and stuff. I'm so honored to be here with y'all, by the way.
I also feel like with the landscape though now, I think also another important, like, being authentic is understanding, like, what do you want as a creative? Because some people, they're cool with that. I want us to be online. I don't want to be in person. So I think it comes down to the question of you're asking yourself, where do I see myself? And then from there, that's going to have to dictate what you need to be doing in order to get there. You can't be expected to sell out shows if you know you're not willing to go outside and put yourself out there. You know what I mean? So I think perspective on what you want, and then align your goals for what that is. And everyone's, like I said, we're in a landscape now where you don't have to be in person to be successful. So that's your campaign, work towards it. But if you want to be on a global and selling out arenas and just selling out shows, you're going to have to work a little bit different, you know? So I think just knowing what direction you want to head to is very important.
I agree, man. And picking somebody's brain that's got it figured out like this is a real good idea. Does anybody here want to start, ask a question to anybody in the panel?
I always want to start.
Okay. All right, hand up one behind you. You want Mike, or you just want to stand up?
I'm going to,
Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so they can hear you in the back, too.
That's fine.
Or online.
Well, actually, I didn't know it was for a question. I just wanted to reiterate what my brother Sajaad has said of the question of your passion to then help finance your life. I went to the traditional route with school and everything, but I've always, like, since high school, had a passion to help young girls become their best selves by having fun, fit, and being fabulous. But I took business, public health, and everything. And I was just, like, very educated to, like, work for somebody. Like, that's, like, my whole thing was, like, I got funding to work for somebody. But I've always had my passion. And my brother will always challenge me to be like, Faja, you already know what to do. And I'm like, but what about the money? Like, how I'm going to survive and pay my bills and everything. So I was always just so scared of that. But he's been a living light and testimony in my life to go after his passion. It really inspires me. And I'm able to now, I'm partnering with the Boys and Girls Club in Athens and under a subcontract. So I just want to say thank you for being you and encouraging me. It means so much. So.
Word.
Anybody else? Oh,
I'm going to start.
yeah, I want you to do the mic so the people in the back can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, it's more comments right now.
It's fine.
But I'm Arlene Stewart with Athcast Music, a podcast about the music of Athens, Georgia, now and then. Comments? So, Montu, you talked about educating your students and getting them to learn and be interested and to let them interact with you. I was in the car with my 7-year-old granddaughter the other day. She goes to Jefferson Middle School up in Jackson County, which is crazy how good the school is, considering where it is. But it is. She says to me, Grandma, what was that lady's name again who got on the bus? And this is the second time that she's talked about Martin Luther King to me. And I go, oh, you mean Rosa Parks? She goes, yeah. Why was that so important? I'm like freaking out. Catch them early, folks. Catch them early. Montu, you know that. Sajaad, I call your marketing 101. Get in your face marketing. That means you get in people's faces.
Right.
There is nothing as powerful for me as marketing yourself person to person, face to face, or shaking somebody's hand. And I think I really commend you for that. There's a lot of things I don't do with my podcast, and this is already like stirring up my brain because it's just me. And I'm like, I just started hiring interns from UGA. The first one, she was really got my social media out there and everything. And she was a journalism major, and God help us. Okay? But she helped me a lot. I have a new one coming, we'll see. Greg, you talk about storytelling. When I made my kids study, I would tell them, don't just say in 1944 this happened, this happened. Tell the story. Start from the beginning. What happened that made this happen? Then go back and say the years. Don't say 1914 this happened. Tell us what happened when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, or whatever the hell he did, okay? So storytelling, I love that. Because that's what I told my kids. Just tell the story. Even in math. Tell the story of how to get to the answer. And I think I just love that about you. I never had a college degree either. But when I worked at Turner Broadcasting, I knew I didn't want to stay where I was. And all of my jobs, I won't get into all of them, but all of my jobs, I had to market myself. Because I got turned down for a really good job after I had 3 interviews. And they said, we don't see a college degree. And I said, well, there isn't one. I've had a lot of college, but I don't have a degree. Well, that started me learning how to market myself. And at Turner, I called every president of those networks and other factions and said, my name is Marlene Sokol-Stewart. I just want 5 minutes of your time and hand you my resume and tell you what I can do for you. And they all accepted. I don't know if you can do that now, but people are willing to do more than you think when you reach out to somebody face to face. Everybody's sick of these resumes that they have in front of them. You hand somebody your resume, I don't care where it is. So, being authentic is really one of the things that I loved also about what you guys were talking about. My last 10 years I've been selling, actually I don't sell, I provide health insurance for under 65 and Medicare. That's all before my podcast and before everything else I did in entertainment. I went into health insurance to give back to a transplant that somebody gave me a kidney. And it was the most rewarding job I ever had, considering the crazy shit I did. And when you combine your passion or find something that makes your heart swell, every single one of you guys do that. And me starting this podcast, I never had a passion in my life. I now do. So, that's all. I just took notes so I could tell you how wonderful you all did. I'm saying this information because it's really important and it's really useful. So there, I said it.
Saying brings things into the world.
Yes.
And so, that's part of what we're talking about today, the storytelling.
Can I stand up for 1 second and give away a t-shirt?
Do it. Everybody here loves you after what you just said. Do what you want.
Okay. Let me not show that.
Repeat the name of that podcast too.
Podcast music, the music of Athens, Georgia, on that. This is my teacher. Who in this room has been on my podcast? You're not supposed to tell.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see, it was trivia.
I didn't understand
Yo, you gave away this.
So, did anybody know that Montu has been on my podcast?
I
Raise
did not
your
know
hand.
that.
Nobody.
I know that.
Okay. Let's ask another one. Who does the Martin Luther King parade?
AADM.
I'm over here trying to like yell out their full names.
I'll do another one later. I won't hold up. I just want to get, I was trying to hide the back of my t-shirt, so. Montu tells me, I am.
Well, let me, real quick. I just want to say these spaces are important. You know, this is where the networks are built. Like this is where the seed is put in the ground. So like, you know, talking random-ish. You know, you're like everybody's podcast and everybody's thing. One thing that I've seen in Athens is like sometimes we have these moments, you know, and they will be like valuable like gold. And then I'll look up 6 months, 8 months will pass, and I won't see any of y'all. So that's a challenge to myself. That's a challenge to everybody out here. Is like the main thing that we really, really have to do is make sure our network is working. So we can't just have these moments once a month and do these things and me go on your podcast and we'll go to Sajaad's show when he throws one and then like that's it. Like it goes further than that. It goes beyond that. We really have to have our network working because then people will look up and they'll say like, Athens is the city. That's the example. Like that's how you're supposed to do it. And I really think with everybody and all the talent that we have in Athens, we can be that example. So I just challenge everybody in here, including myself, to make sure that our networks are working.
I like that as a professional development skill. Just teaching the students and young people to do that follow-up call. Send that email, make that phone call, make a text if you have to, comment on something, whatever. Reach out to the people you meet. These networks, especially for younger people, it's hard because they're shy to break that boundary with people. But if you're in this event, even all of us, like you're saying, Montu, it's like, well, I don't want to wait till next month to see you all to finish our conversation. It's like, let's have coffee on Tuesday.
That's right.
And so it's hard to do that ask, you might get rejected. It's hard to do the ask, you might feel like you're just putting yourself out there, and that's one of the things we're losing online. So yeah, I mean, I think that fits with that face-to-face marketing idea and authenticity. But you just say, hey, I met you. I want to follow up with you. I want to talk to you more about that. It's so hard to do, but that's what I hope we do.
Let's go.
Yeah, showing up, yeah. More questions or comments from the audience? If you don't mind. I just had a complete physical, I'm not sick.
Well, hello everyone. To just touch on what already was said, all three of you did phenomenal. I know I took a lot in, and this question is specifically for Sajaad. As a fan, and I'm sure there's more fans in here, yes, how can we support, yes, see, there we go. How can we support you after today in showing up as your fan, as a friend, as maybe mentorship, whatever it is, what is it that you need in support from us?
Tell us. What's the secret? Tell us where we can see, where we can go.
Right.
Do it.
I feel like the easiest way to support, definitely by supporting the brand and merch. If you guys want to support by, buying some merch, but something that's just kind of priceless. I think just connecting, following me on socials, dive into the music more. I think how Montu was saying, and as you were saying as well, is that like I gotta do more of an initiative as an artist to utilize the resources at times where sometimes I'm just so in my bubble, just figuring things out. But I know the time's gonna come where it's like, all right, like I told him something through text the other day. It's like I want to sell out the Georgia Theater like the end of this year. So it's like I know eventually at some point those visions are gonna come to life. But I know I have a lot of work to do in terms of like the next couple months of building that leverage. You know what I'm saying? Of you can't just pop up and you ain't got nobody pulling up to see you. So it's like this year I'm really focused on marketing, I'd love to hop on your podcast if you want me on your podcast and collaborate.
I'm
That'd be
reserving a season 4. I've already got
That's
you
it.
down, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody invited him to be on their show. That's
And even Joker TV, though, shout out to Joker TV, because when I first did my first AFS performance, I came here and did an interview 2 years ago. But even, just utilizing the community more, I feel like Athens is a mini mecca. So many gyms around. But sometimes we get just, like you said, so distracted in our own world, we don't even really realize.
Well, it's pretty overwhelming too.
100%.
So many people.
A lot. But like you say, you got that, So if you got that direction though, it's like, man, I could hop on Joker TV and do a preview of maybe a new song about a job. Hit a Montu, I want to do a show, different ways. I always hit a Andrew all the time, I need to write up, I'm gonna drop, so just utilizing, I think everyone more, I think I'm gonna do a better job of just on my personal end. I think you can't have people help you if you don't know where to lead them. So that's kind of what I'll be working on myself. Yeah.
Thank you.
We got it. I would like you to tell them about, just real quick, it could be 30 seconds. Just tell them about talking random-ish. So my boy was supposed to be here tonight, but he caught a bug. He caught a little flu bug, so he couldn't come. But he was supposed to be here. He was excited. I saw him, and he was like, "Man, I'll be there." But boom, so he wasn't here. But if you don't mind, just telling them what it is, where they can see you, you know what I mean? Ricky King, Rick King, so that's talking random-ish.
You really put me on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But it's all good.
You know how I
Shake
feel.
my too. That microphone. Okay. Well, talking random-ish was created by my husband. I'm sorry, I got pizza in my mouth.
I'm sorry.
Rick King. We're both born and raised here in Athens, so we're Athenians. We're very proud of that. We love Athens. But talking random-ish is, I'm still chewing, barbershop style conversation, okay? My husband growing up, going to the barbershop as a little boy, experienced a lot of different conversations in the barbershop, okay? And it was something that he looked forward to doing every week, because you were in the barbershop every week. But yeah, so his goal is to get the information out to his community. Again, we love this community, and Talking Random-ish is giving him that opportunity to network, to connect with people here in Athens, and let the people know what Athens have going on, because we do have a lot of amazing things going on in this community. So that's what Talking Random-ish is basically about. So my husband, he's really good about getting you in his radio station. We film at a radio station, and just getting you to loosen up and be comfortable, and so that you could just open up and share with the community. So thank you guys for this opportunity, so that and I hope I did my husband proud. Sorry, Rick.
You did. And we just have to make sure that we're all, I don't have to be on anybody's podcast, but get everybody in here on everybody's podcast. Let's start there.
I don't even need pizza.
Can I say one more thing? This is really important. Okay, so the podcast is every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Okay, so tune in live, Talking Random-ish. Thanks.
Yes.
All right. So I got a question. One of the things that I thought, discussing working with students, engaging them with content creation and stuff like that, is I'm thinking about it from the Joker perspective. I'm also thinking about YouTube rules and things like that as well. We've had some young people submit stuff to us to be featured on the show. There's some stuff I had to turn down because, for different reasons. But what I would really like to do is create a show similar to Joker TV that is only students, you know, and that was kind of what me and Greg's been talking a lot about. Part of what you're talking about is like helping them to find themselves through doing this. You know, like when I was young, I was an artist. I knew from as far back as I can remember that I was an artist, and I needed opportunity to be an artist. I needed mentorship. I needed someone to go, hey, I want to take you along the ride with me, you know. And a lot of the, you know, I didn't have that. I didn't have it from my parents. I didn't have it from the older people around me. In fact, you know, they looked at my art and said, no, that's not valuable. You know, and the world has changed definitely since then. And so, you know, content creation is a part of their lives. And so I guess my question is, how do I reach out to students from Joker TV and help them understand that there's opportunity for them to explore themselves through working with Joker TV?
I think, and this might sound heavy and big and whatever, but it really ain't. I think it's just setting up a program, you know. It doesn't even have to necessarily be connected to CCSD, but like setting up something where you invite parents, you invite students, and you show them what you do. You have some sort of curriculum, but not like, that sounds heavy, but not curriculum, but some sort of program where they come in, like maybe they come in every Wednesday and do their own content, or just whatever it is you come up with. But I think the main thing is showing them that like, this is what I do and this is what I offer. And the parents and the students will come. Like they really will. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's connecting with classrooms like mine. There's a similar classroom at Clark Central. And I'm bringing you in and now you're in the schools. Now you're dealing with the parents. Now you're dealing with these different environments that students are already in, you know? And they'll come, like they'll, you know, you don't have to look for mentors. They'll be willing to like, okay, can I come more than just Wednesdays? Like, you know, once they see that you're teaching them these skills, like they'll be ready. Yeah. They'll be ready. So, and we'll definitely talk about it. But I just think setting up a program, it doesn't have to be, honestly, eventually, yeah, 501c3 and all that good stuff and whatever, but right now, you just need to build a program. It could just be an after school program once a week. You know, and the students will come.
I love that. I hope anybody who's interested in doing that kind of program that we can talk after in the social. Speaking of Boys and Girls Club, there is a workforce development program at the George Square Mall, and they have a podcast studio, and they have a stage, and they have they do like, you know, computer repair, electronics, fashion. You know, that's the kind of program that I think we're talking about, but to expand it, it's going to take the talented creators in here to be, like again, using Frary, to do it together, to co-investigate, to work side by side in those spaces where the mentor is just one of the students in the class. So it's not being taught, it's just being done.
That's right.
And so that program...
You need to talk to life.
Yeah.
One more thing about
that.
I've
got a 501c3 called Alom D, which is for local leadership development, and I think making it be part of the media and content creation industry. You can lead in any industry, and that I can see a big opportunity there. So.
And one of the things about that I feel like maybe holds me back a little bit is because, you know, we're you know, me and my crew doing what we do, like we're DIY artists. We don't have any college. Well, I don't know. I'm speaking about myself, but I don't have any college. But we do things, you know, with what we've got, you know, whatever equipment we've got, we make it work. And so I sort of sometimes feel like what we have to offer might not be what they need. But then when I talk to some people, I'm saying, they're saying, no, they need that. Like, I mean, I've even talked to one of the guys at the Athena Student Learning Center. And, you know, I was just like, you know, there's a lot that my crew needs help with, like you mentioned, the social media thing. You know, we're doing the best we can, but we're not in that world as much as the kids are. And so it's hard for me to see the value that we can offer them because we're doing it in not necessarily a professional way. It's more DIY or
Just
whatever.
Right now, to be honest with you, we need boots on the ground.
Yep, I was gonna say.
We need boots on the ground right now. Like for real, like, I mean, I guarantee you, if you go down to that on-premise, go down, if you wanna work with CCSD, go down to CCSD, you talk to who you need to talk to, set up a meeting, like, I guarantee you, we need boots on the ground. We need programs. We need DIY, just like we need football, just like we need, you know, soccer. We need all these things happening for these kids right now. So then they have a choice. You know, there's gonna be ones that choose that. There's gonna be ones that choose to go to the football field. There's gonna be ones that choose to do the theater thing. But if that's not there, then the ones who would choose it just have nowhere to go and they're kind of lost. And then maybe they'll stumble their way through and like figure it out like you did. But if you can help them, like you don't have to stumble. I can kind of help you. Like we need boots on the ground, man. That's all. Yeah.
I was gonna say that I recorded tweet recording. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. It's a funny story how I got there, but they have a program that's called, it's an audio production school. Well, it's an 18-week course. When you walk out of there, you really know what you're doing, or you should. Otherwise, you just wasted your money. But I'm not saying everybody should run to this school, but they just partnered with the Georgia Theater. And they are gonna have one day a week in the Georgia Theater with all the production of what takes to be. Yeah.
What's the cost to?
And Andrew Radcliffe just told me, I forget the days, and we can look up the days, but like, they offer Saturdays for students. Like,
Yes.
it's like Saturdays, I forget the time, but like
Yeah,
Saturdays,
I know.
they offer it, the students can just come on Saturdays and learn all that stuff, but
Yes.
we'll link it all
Yeah,
up.
so there's that, but what my reference to that is because you can do that with what you do. You don't have to start a school or a recording studio or anything like that. That's what you do. The other thing I was going to get back to the storytelling thing is, I've been in the music business and we had record stores for many years and all this stuff. And I have still to this day a lot of musicians saying to me, how do you get yourself out there? And you know what I always tell them? Tell your story.
Yeah.
That's how you get out there.
Be yourself in any space.
Tell your story. I'm trying to tell my story through the people that I talk to. I had no idea that I was going to do a podcast 5 years ago. What I did know is I wanted to do something in the music business again, after health insurance and all this, and all the other stuff. And every day that I started this podcast, and excuse my language, I woke up and I said, who the fuck do I think I am? And you know what I said? I'm a producer. So I could answer that. That's another question. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? And then tell your story. And I carry a little sticker in my purse that says, she said she could, so she did.
And real quick, and I know I keep saying real quick, but so, you know, for many years I've been in Athens doing what I do, but for a long time I've had this thing, and eventually I found out it was called the imposter syndrome, right? I had that forever, and I just didn't realize it. It wasn't until like I re-linked up with my wife, and she was like, no, you are him. You know what I'm saying? And like, for a while I was in these spaces, and sometimes I was like, why am I in this space? Do I even deserve to be in this space? This is on UGA campus. Like, I'm looking around like, am I supposed to be at UGA? Am I supposed to be doing this? And then, like, I link up with my wife, and I'm finally, probably in the last year, she was like, no, you're him. Like, you have to take that in and accept it. And when I did that, I've been, like, I'll be at Duke in a couple months and going to Brazil, and I'm going to Europe. So I'm just like, damn, all I had to do was accept who I was, and like all this stuff happened. Like, okay. So I say it to say this, like, I was dealing with it. I know a lot of us deal with it. Like it's that imposter syndrome that we don't think we're supposed to be where we are. We are him, we are her. I'm just saying.
Well, Mux, what you said was just so brave, and I just want to say thank you for shedding light on some of the things that go on in your mind about like, okay, well, do we basically have enough to showcase because it's all DIY? That is something that goes through my mind daily, even just on the individual level, but something that I have found on how I can walk in my truth is knowing that you're already enough bare so that then when you go and share yourself with somebody, like for me, I run a nonprofit called Hug Yourself and Love Yourself, and I teach preteen girls about self-love and self-care and mindfulness. And for me, I'm walking in there every single time like, am I enough? Like, am I cool enough to talk to these girls? Do they think that I even know what I'm talking about? What about that mirror talk that we had last night where I called myself ugly and this and that? And it just all comes crashing down. But what I'm starting to realize for myself that I'm sure so many of us can relate to is when you're stripped bare, that's who you really are.
Right.
I can come in with the cute outfits, hair done, we got the sparkly mirrors, the gel pens, but if I'm telling these girls like, make sure you find a rich man, make sure you get some money.
Right.
It's like, we all just miss the whole point of like, oh,
Right.
well, Miss Alyssa, she's looking good and she's telling us this. Well, let's go and chase something that now we're in loops and then it goes, touches on what everyone was saying about aspiration. Who are you? What do you really want to do? So I'm starting to embrace it of like, you bear, me bear, you bear, you bear. All of us bear, we're already enough. We already got what it takes. And then it allows the students to see, oh, if he can walk in here with DIY, then I can also go out into the world at 16, at 14, at 12, not knowing myself, realizing, oh, I'm enough already just because of who I am, just because of the presence when I'm in the building. And I think that that is the core of really what all of us really want to do in the community and with the youth is let them know you're enough. You're worthy. You're capable with everything stripped from you. That's who you are. And now we add on top of it, and now you're a star, and now you're these wonderful things, and the world gets to see it. But without all of that, you were already him.
I want to say something though to Mux. Man, if it wasn't for DIY, I would have thought that's too hard. I can't do that. I come from food insecure background, flat broke, underneath broke, don't answer the phone broke. And I would never inspire to do anything if I saw like people doing it with the most expensive gear and with all the things you're supposed to have, with the things you see on TV and magazines, what they have. It was seeing people do it with nothing. That's why I liked hip hop so much, is because it was do it with whatever you can. And they created a complete revolution in culture. I mean, I'm from Atlanta, not Athens, but that's the culture I grew up in. Because that's what the kids thought, and the parents hated it, so we knew it must be good, But really, yeah, if I had, I'll give you an example. And I have, just as a hobby, make movies with my friends, and we've made almost like 200. We have our film festivals every year, Cine, all of this type of stuff. And so we were shooting one day, and I had, it was a cool camera, it was nice. But I heard somebody they brought their friend to watch us film, said, man, I can't wait till I get a camera like that, I can make a movie. I'm like, stop everything. Get out your phone, go right over my shoulder, film exactly what I'm filming, you yell action, and show me if it's not the same exact thing. I don't know if that kid went on to make their own films or not, but that was the whole point. That was the whole point, to be like, you got it now. You're enough now, right? And so that DIY is very, very important, man, for people to see. And I think it's more inspiring than seeing somebody that's got it all together,
Yeah, just to go back, Monty, what Andrew was saying, I think when you were talking about the process of, I feel like it's so needed because a lot of times as a kid and as a youth, it seems impossible. You know what I'm saying? So just the mere fact of someone just showing you how to do it opens you up to a whole nother world. Like, it is possible. I can do this. So as you're feeling like, is it value? It's really priceless. You know what I'm saying? Because that's literally the key they're going to need in life outside of school. Is you need to learn how to figure out life on your own in ways and like know that you're capable. You have all the tools within to already do that. So I think what you're talking about, even though you're feeling nervous about it, it's like that's exactly what's needed though.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well,
We don't all have to have the receipts from UGA and Howard and University of Minnesota. They ain't none but receipts. That's what them degrees are, just receipts.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to hit on, because I was hearing that in your conversation about the education, and I guess it's hard because we do live in a college town, you know, where UGA leads and everything, but, you know, one thing I'm always talking with my youth about, you know, and reflecting in education and looking at what was needed when my grandfather, for instance, maybe was coming up, where he maybe only finished junior high, but was able to still make a full-fledged living in California and buy homes and do all that stuff just with skills and good character. Whereas when my mother maybe came along, she had to be the generation that at least finished high school and then was able to get in at a ground level in a corporation and at least build her way up, and she could do that. Where then when my generation came, then it was like, okay, you at least got to have a bachelor's to even get in the door, you know, and then, you know, then you try to, then your kids are coming and then you're trying to inspire them to do more. But then also we're in a different changing point, you know, because all these things are changing in the society and we have to stay abreast of those things to where now, and I have 7 children, so now these later kids are getting like, look, if you go to college, it's all about making the money now. You guys got social media, you have all these things and so much talent. I don't know if you need to go this route anymore, because now people are getting degrees and then they don't have a job. So, you know, you don't even just do your work, you know, and never, you don't have to lead with your education, you know, because these kids understand that now, because they're following content creators who are still like in high school making, you know, $500,000 a year just on a product or this or that. So they're not impressed by education anymore. It's the old people, you know, looking for, oh, what degree do you have?
But they have to be
and all
careful
these young people like, you know, no, what access can you give me? And I think they see that.
Yeah.
So don't even bring it up, you know, because it's not even a conversation anymore. It's about how can you take advantage of these tools that are around you,
Yes.
find your stories, find your passions, and then, you know, be successful at it, you know, and find joy in that. And this is a conversation too, not just for young people, but for old people too, you know, because I'm getting inspired by my youth who, cause, you know, I have a lot of stories inside of me and they're just all trapped up too. So they help inspire me to find ways to now use the social media to, you know, find a way to express and find a way to deliver. Got me a TikTok last year, got me an ebook, now I got supplemental income, you know what I mean? But I like, set me up TikTok, you know? So then they would be laughing, oh God, mom's on TikTok, you know? But hey, I gotta get out here and hustle. But we inspire each other, because like, hey, I'm out here, I got me a product, I found me an audience, I got my thing going, so what you doing? So we're always in this competition about stuff, but it's just, and then another thing I wanted to think about, I was thinking about when you were talking too about being able to offer the youth this experience, but again, they're offering you stuff too, because like you said, they know how to do this equipment and all this stuff without the formal training. You know, I watched my sons began writing in this later development of all these skills, but start recording in my closet with a blanket up on the door and some eggshells on the wall somewhere. And you know, I'm like, who in my closet? What y'all doing? You know, but that was and some type of mic, you know, they just used to find equipment. I don't know where they figured that part out, but I mean, they went from doing stuff like that, you know, getting the younger kid to be on an iPhone. Somebody drive the car in the neighborhood slow, and then they, you know, they're making videos, and then, you know, they can really tell their story on how they started getting visually. It's just like, you would have never thought, you know, that they were like right in the neighborhood. You know, I remember Sajaad, one of his first little album covers or song covers, him and Alyssa did together. It was, they took a couch out the house, put it in the street, and had somebody, for another kid in the family, take this photo of them laying on this couch, but then put this backdrop on it. You would have thought they was out in this Hollywood production. It was like, who would ever thought that's a little raggedy couch from the house, you know, out in the street, and they just figure all this stuff out. So you'd be surprised at what these kids can really do, you know, and even add into what we're doing, right, and helping to spread this message. So anyways, I'm just encouraged, and I'm glad that I ended up coming. I always come to try to follow the support, but then I'm always going home learning more stuff myself, and so I definitely am definitely resonating with the information today, and I look forward to connecting more to implement some of these things too, you know, the authentic stories, learning more about your podcast area, because I didn't even know about your program. So I'm just happy to be here tonight as well and sharing the conversation.
I should mention right behind you, Guillermo, do you care if I plug Lightroom?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Lightroom Athens has a photo studio, podcast studios, equipment rental. If you want to get your hands on some stuff and like you looking at Amazon going like $900, I can't. go see Guillermo, man, because he's got a whole lot of stuff in there that needs to be used. That photo studio is nice too. I know a lot of friends that, just give them a couple bucks to go in there and shoot. You got a whole professional setup. It's nice. It's not some weird guy's apartment that they'll buy some stuff off Teamly. Come on, man.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Hello. Well, finishing about the DIY, I think film in general is very, and content creation is very much steps. So DIY is not necessarily bad, and it's not necessarily like everything. The less you have, the more creative you have to be, and then you start taking steps, and it will grow with you. And equipment, as well as you said, and we are aware of how powerful our cell phones are, and how powerful any type of camera is right now in comparison when we were growing up or coming up the business. But one of the things I think is, I think beyond what equipment you have, the story you have, if it's valuable and it should be told, no matter what. So I think it's not necessarily like, I do come from a background of film. I do make like medium-sized films. I'm spoiled. I do use like 150,000 cameras, but at the same time, if a director comes in and it's like, I want to use a cell phone and this is why, I would definitely say yes, because it's not it's not the how, it's the what. You're trying to tell a story, and if the story has to be told this way, then it has to be told that way. And at the end of the day, kids need to start somewhere, and if DIY is the way to start, and then from there they can climb or stay there and keep innovating, Well, and we are open 9 to 5 every day. We are next to Pumayus at Onetta Street, yeah.
You next to what?
We have
Oh.
The restaurant.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to add one more thing as we're closing here, because I know we're getting close to time.
We are.
Thinking about formal education in the classroom and the teachers out there, parents, there is a way to bring the storytelling into every subject. I was in New Orleans recently, and a friend's daughter is 8 years old, and she's learning her times tables. She can't remember them. I said, well, let's make it into a song. Tell me your favorite song. She knows all the lyrics. I said, well, let's just pretend it's lyrics. And then tell me a story about that. And then those numbers weren't numbers anymore. They had a different meaning. They were part of the story. And, I think it, obviously builds empathy and connection. I taught 12th grade English, had to teach Shakespeare. I was teaching kids in low-income neighborhoods, Title IX school.
I was saying, I don't like
low-income.
I'd rather they tell the story.
They don't know Shakespeare. They can't read it. It's hard for everyone. It's hard for me when I started 13, 14 years old. So I said, let's just focus on the story part. And I had them making storyboards, and then I had them do adaptations where they retold the story, but they were able to realize what were the key points of this story. They kept it moving. What were the core characters? And when they could break it down to what's really happening. Think about that in terms of interpreting the news of the day. Who are the characters? What's really happening? What's the real action here? Watch what they do, not what they say. This sort of thing. It's like, oh, well, this character's talking about this, but they're doing that. So it's not just in literature class. You can do that in science class. You're learning some principle. How does that connect to your life? Public service announcements, all the things you do, like wash your hands, okay? We did puppet theater with that with third graders. I had them make puppet shows about these different things that they're told to do in school. It's just a list of rules. I said, I want you to take this list of school rules, and for each of you are going to take a school rule, and I want you to make a story about that rule. And then it brought it to life. And so I just think if there's anything I'm taking away from today, it's that affirmation that if they can express themselves or listen and break it down into those parts, then whatever technology they have, they're going to be able to share it. So that's my parting word on that.
Yeah. All right, so we are trying to wrap it up, man. Sajaad, Montu, do y'all got any parting things that you want to say, or give information on where people can get in touch with you or plug something that's coming up?
Well, as far as social media, you can go to AthFactor or usually Montu. I'm not really hard to find. I am not yet on TikTok, but I'm on everything else. Second Wednesday. I've been messing it up because I used to do Tuesdays. Tuesdays is hip hop the thing, so it always messes me up. But it's the second Wednesday of every month. At Hindered Shots, we do this live band open mic thing, so I'm always there. If you haven't been, it's super dope. I have a show on February 8th at Cine. It's like got all kinds of great hip hop and dance and live art going on. So check me out there. But like, I'm not really hard to find, and like I will like I'm one of those. I'm a worker bee. Like I'm willing to work. So put me to work. Like use my network. I'm not one of them I am a gatekeeper, but I'm not one of them gatekeepers that just like keeps the gate closed for everybody.
Your quality
My
control.
gate is open for everybody, but I am a gatekeeper. So just I ain't hard to find. And let's work. Let's go.
I have some scanner cards that I can pass out to everyone here. Come and talk to everyone. A lot of you already know my family's here, but for those who are new, I'll talk to everyone after this. But yeah, I thought it was an easier way that we just shout in my Instagram out and give y'all something to just scan and kind of get to, because yeah.
Greg, how can people get in touch with
Appreciate
you?
the time.
You can find me on Instagram as Greg's Two Riches, or you can find me on Facebook as Gregory CF Dolezal. I'm not the creator. I'm the guy behind the scenes. I'm the writer. So I'm the person you don't see. I'm the staff writer whose name is not on the paper, but I am a man about town. So you'll see.
I do want to mention one more time, Athens GATV Creative Space, Low back there. Gene, Taj over there with the camera. Your arms are so strong. How are you holding that like this whole time? That is amazing. But I want to say thanks to y'all for this opportunity. Thanks for what you're doing. I mean, the engagement that you got amongst these people, I would rather have 4 or 5 people that are really engaged than this whole room full of folks that just came and sat here and left, you know? So I want to say, I would like to applaud the whole audience. What's that, Lo? Thank you, sir. Yeah. And thanks to everybody up here, too, our panel. Incredible. Hey, Mux, did I leave anything out? We got one more word?
When's the next meeting? Everybody should get
It's the last Tuesday of every month. Huh?
I'm about to travel a lot, but I'll try.
But if you scan the QR code, that'll take you to the website, or just go to AthensGATV.com. And it's right now it's the logo and a form. That's all the website is, and it's just so we can connect that way, and then I can continue to send you invitations.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, if we have these folks here on the next panel, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bugs.
I'm gonna give another.
Yeah.